Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gyan Timirandasya. Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Continue our reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, Narada Muni's Perfection, with commentary by Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakur. After practicing his bhajan, chanting his mantra that he received from the sadhus as a young boy, getting the darshan of the Supreme Lord for one time, and then increasing his eagerness to see the Lord, the next aspect, or his perfection, is described. He is talking again, Narada Muni is speaking with Vyasadeva, why Vyasadeva is not yet satisfied even after compiling the Mahabharata and so forth, Vedanta Sutras. So this is the entire story. Narada is revealing to him his own heart, the nature of bhakti, and the perfection of chanting the mantra that one receives from one's spiritual master. Then he goes on to say, at the end of the Kalpa, when Brahma withdrew the universe with his breathing, I then entered into Brahma, who desired to sleep in Narayan, who was lying in the water of the only ocean. Commentary. This is like paraphrasing a question. If you have an eternal body, then why are you known to be born from Brahma in this Swayambhuva Manvantara, in this age? Why were you born as the son of Brahma when you have already described with the like lightning, you achieved immediately a spiritual body? But now you're describing that you were born as the son of Brahma. It is said that Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of the body. Again, kind of paraphrasing what the answer would be. That is true, just as the Lord from his particular pastimes enters the womb of Devaki from the pastimes of being the son of Brahma at the end of the previous kalpa, I entered the body of Brahma. When Brahma withdrew the three worlds, I entered along with his breathing into Brahma, who desired to go to sleep in Narayan, who was sleeping in the water of that only ocean. Having appeared, according to the Kurma Purana, having appeared, Brahma, entering the body of Vishnu, became one with Vishnu, and then went into Vishnu's spiritual sleep. So we know that at the time of destruction, the Lord goes to sleep, and at that time, Brahma enters into the body of the Lord. And when it is time for creation, the Lord again wakes, and from his navel a lotus stem is created, and Brahma is born atop that lotus. At the end of 1,000 yuga cycles, Brahma awoke. At the proper time for awakening, Brahma again awoke, and Marichi and other sages, and I appeared from the various senses of Brahma, who desired to create the universe again. So when it was time for creation, Brahma awoke, and along with him awoke various sages headed by Marichi, and Narada says, I also appeared at that time. I entered when he went to sleep into Brahma's body, but then I was born when Brahma awoke. The commentary says at the end of 1,000 yuga cycles means at the end of the previous kalpa, and now at the beginning of this kalpa, Marichi and the other sages and I were born from the senses of Brahma. With continuous worship of the Lord, by the grace of Mahavishnu, I now travel outside and inside the universe with no obstacles at all. Narada continues his story. This is text 31. By the grace of Mahavishnu, Brahma was born, and I then manifested all my perfections, given the right to travel outside and inside the universe. Sometimes he can go to Vaikuntha to go to the spiritual world, and sometimes he travels for the purpose of spreading the glories of the Lord throughout the universe. He says here, I am not like Marichi and the other sages with material bodies. This is kind of, again, paraphrasing or through the commentary. He's speaking, the commentator, Visvanatha Cakravarti, is speaking on behalf of Narada. I am not like Marichi and the other sages with material bodies, under the influence of their own karmas, involved in karma yoga, nor like the Kumaras, the 4 Kumaras, who were involved in Gyan. They all are of a different type because they still possess some material identity and are still involved with the influence of their own karmas, karma yoga, Gyan yoga. But I am above the paths of both material engagement, karma yoga, or renunciation, Gyan yoga, for I worship the Lord and exist independently by the power of bhakti again, that because of pure bhakti, the others may be seen to have mixed bhakti, the Kumaras and the sages headed by Marichi. But I, Narada, exist independently of them because I have perfected myself through the practice of bhakti. This is what is being expressed in this verse. Those who are karma yogis do not go beyond the universe. Those who have attained Brahman by very difficult austerities do not go into the material universe out of fear of the bondage of karma. But I, fixed in continuous devotion of the Lord, travel outside and inside the universe. In other words, I travel outside the universe to the realm of Vaikuntha. I have that ability because Narada is saying I have a spiritual body. Playing various melodies upon my veena given to me by the Lord, using the 7 sacred notes of the scale, I wander about singing the glories of the Lord. So Narada is always seen playing the veena. That was a gift given to him by the Lord. And using the scale, which has 7 notes, 7 sacred notes when properly aligned with the ragas, as are found within the Shastra, I sing those ragas containing the 7 notes of the scale, and I wander about singing the glories of the Lord. Commentary, Narada's paraphernalia, not available to any other person in the material world, is also constantly with him at all times, wherever he goes. That is a special gift given to Narada by the Lord. It's special, Narada's paraphernalia. It's not available to any other person. It's a special gift given to Narada. The veena was given by Krishna. This is narrated in the Linga Purana. Swara refers to the 7 notes of the scale. Because they manifest Brahman, the Lord, they're called Brahma or Swara Brahma. With those notes, one can glorify the Lord. That is the idea, that the musical scale ultimately was created for the purpose of glorifying the Lord. And so there is great power in those notes when they are offered to the Lord. Marchayaitva means that he played music filled with expressive modes. When I sing his glories, Narada goes on to say, the Lord who makes any place that he touches holy, and who is attracted to those who sing his glories, quickly appears in my heart, as if being called. Narada says, my experience is that whenever I chant his name, the Lord is present within my heart, because he hears me calling out through those sacred sounds. Priya Shrava means that Krishna goes wherever his glories are sung, since he is attracted by that. Tirthapada means that Wherever the Lord goes becomes a holy place. And so the heart becomes sanctified because the Lord resides within the heart that is called through his kirtan. That process still goes on by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we chant the holy name and the Lord manifests within the heart, and the heart becomes a holy place. The Lord actually is controlled by bhakti, and thus appears without even being called. That is, the bhakti alone of the heart attracts the Lord. For persons whose minds are constantly afflicted with desires for enjoyment of the sense objects, I have directly experienced that singing the glories of the Lord is the best boat for crossing material existence. So here Narada says, what I have understood and experienced is that those who are filled with desires can free themselves from the contamination of the material modes by singing the glories of the Lord. And I have direct experience that such singing of the glories of the Lord is the best boat for crossing the samsara, the cycle of birth and death. This verse summarizes the topic being discussed. For those whose minds are afflicted by material desires, attachment to the objects of the senses, which is an ocean, that is, the living being is like drowning in the ocean of samsara, that is described there. The boat for crossing that ocean is praising the Lord's activities, singing his glories. And Narada says, I have directly seen or experienced that. There is no other proof necessary, because kirtan is the main anga. Out of all the angas of bhakti that is being mentioned, however, the statement should also include all bhaktis. All the angas of bhakti will be effective with the chanting of the holy name. All the other angas or aspects of bhakti come to assist us as mediums by which we can perfect our devotion. But they all are dependent upon kirtan, the glorification of the Lord. And Narada, being the first in our sampradaya, from Krishna to Brahma to Narada, and actually we see that Narada received the gift of the Veena from the Lord directly from Krishna himself. So he establishes the precedence within our lineage that chanting of the holy name is the principal anga of bhakti. And he is the very example of that. And with his spiritual body, he can go anywhere he desires, to the spiritual world, to the material world, always assisting and helping the conditioned souls. The Atma, constantly afflicted by lust and greed, will not be satisfied by any other process. Astanga Yoga and the other paths, they will not satisfy as much as direct service to Mukunda. So now he is summarizing again why Vyas was not completely satisfied is that he did not glorify the Lord directly. He spoke about the processes of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, and all the various Vedic processes of keeping mankind, we'll say, under disciplined life, because man needs morality to discipline his life. So the karmic process is a discipline, but it is not sufficient. Morality itself is not enough to reach the Lord. One can even be an immoral person and achieve the Lord. But the process is bhakti. We see, like in the case of Vivamangal Thakur, he accepted Chintamani, who was a prostitute, as his first guru to lead him on. So one could judge the character of such a person, but it's not the principle of morality, it's the principle of devotion. So the one aspect of life is we should have proper morals in our life, and those things like no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, those are moral principles, really. They can be followed by anyone. They're not sufficient enough to take one back to Godhead, even if one is living. I don't eat meat. I'm faithful to my wife. I don't gamble. All of this stuff. But that's not enough to take you to the Lord. Those assist us because the mode of goodness is the best platform from which one can transcend this. So that helps to put one on the level of goodness, those moral principles. So here Narada is telling Vyas, you've spoken about the principles of morality and Dharma, Arth, Kam, and Moksha, how one could live within this world in accordance with the principles of Dharma and enjoy the world with all its assets, Artha and Kam, and achieve heaven. But that heavenly state is also temporary. As we hear that one can go to the heavens for some time. It's like it's kind of like a vacation from the sufferings of this world, just like one wants some relief from one's hard work, so one wants to go for a vacation. But then, when those karmas run out, one has to again, or the punyas run out, one again has to come back to this earthly realm. So the earthly realm is the place where one can work all of that out. That is why earth is so important, and that is why the Lord makes his appearance upon the earth to assist mankind to break the cycle of karma and to go back home to Godhead. Otherwise, he's caught in this cycle, even with his good dharmas, and goes to the heavens. He has to again come back and again perform some activity, and those activities may relate to the Lord and may just relate to the morals of the earth and working hard and all of that, but that's insufficient. So here, Narada is telling Vyasadeva, your emphasis was so much on the principles of Dharma and how one would benefit by the execution of Dharma to gain the pleasures of the world and the material assets one requires for enjoyment and even to attain the heavens. But that in itself will not satisfy the Atma. The Atma will still be plagued by lust and greed. The Atma, constantly afflicted by such lust and greed, will not be satisfied. You cannot find any true satisfaction by any other path but direct service to Mukunda. Krishna, Mukunda Sevaya, the word is here, Mukunda Sevaya. That Lord who liberates us from the cycle of birth and death through Seva. Sevaya, Mukunda Sevaya. Though it is ascertained that the state of bhakti is real liberation, yoga and gyan mixed with bhakti will not pacify the Atma as much as pure bhakti. And he's pointing that out by also telling us about the Kumaras and the sages headed by Murchi, and how his position is distinct, because they have some bhakti, but it is bhakti mixed with yoga and gyan and like that. But Narada is the example of pure bhakti, and that is what satisfies the self and which allows one to attain to the Lord. Atma is not pacified by yoga as much as by serving Mukunda directly. It is established that yoga and other processes without bhakti also are futile. It's just like we were mentioning, the principles of Dharma, they're incomplete. Even all other yoga processes are incomplete without bhakti. It is established that yoga and other processes without bhakti are futile because they do not satisfy oneself and they do not take one to the ultimate destination. O sinless Vyas, I have now explained all of this confidential knowledge about my birth and my activities because you have asked so much that your mind will be satisfied. You wanted to understand this, and so I have given you this knowledge. Sarvam here refers to the appearance of Narada's bhakti. its types, its growth, its result, the activities of the devotee, the destructions of one's prarabdha karma, how the devotee leaves his body, how he achieves a spiritual body without karmas. This is called Rahasayam, secret. Rahasyam, secret. This is because it is not understood by the study of Vedanta. It is, even by study of the Vedanta, you will not understand this. Raja Vidya Raja Guyam. Krishna says this is the topmost understanding in Bhagavad Gita. And it is most confidential. Rahasyam means it is most confidential. By Krishna's grace, we are given the opportunity to understand this. Mankind is wandering birth after birth, and without this knowledge, he cannot stop that cycle. So, by the grace of the devotee, we come to understand the pure aspect of bhakti and how we can release ourselves from the cycle of birth and death. And so that is the specific characteristic of this line through which Narada has appeared. So Sutta continues, now picking up the story. Sutta, who's speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya, says, Narada, freely moving, without material motive, having spoken to Vyas, the son of Satyavati, now taking his leave, departed, while taking pleasure in his vina. So that was the final message he told Vyas. And now Narada continues playing his vina and went on to his next destination, wherever that may be. Giving association to Vyas is called yadrichika. Yadrichika means that without motive, that somehow or other bhakti, yadrichika, appears within our life. We can't actually understand why, but by the causeless mercy of the Lord, we have given this blessing within this lifetime, where others may have not gotten, but we have gotten a blessing, yadvichika. Who knows why, or what we have done, or if we've done anything. Just Krishna's grace is upon us, and he's given us the association of his devotees by which we can perfect our life. So giving association to Vyas was also yadrichika, causeless mercy. Narada is most fortunate, because singing and rejoicing in the glories of Krishna with his vina, he gives bliss to the suffering world. So now this chapter concludes with this verse. Glorification. Aho, O Narada, how merciful you are. We are so fortunate that you wander through this world, playing upon your vina, giving bliss to those who reside here, as you sing and you rejoice in the glories of Krishna. Thus ends the commentary on the 6th chapter of the 1st canto of the Bhagavatam, for the pleasure of the devotees, in accordance with the previous acharyas. So here, Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakur says, I conclude my commentaries now on this 6th chapter, which I have compiled for the pleasure of the devotees. And I have done so in accordance with the instructions that I have received from the previous acharyas. May the devotees be happy and feel joyful in hearing the commentary and the text of this Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Gaur Premanandi Haribol, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.